hitsthebarlive.com. PMS, the Pugs Moran Show for a Thursday afternoon, coming to you live from the Sunbrew Summer Beach House here in beautiful North Dallas, Texas. Jimmy Ryan, quickly, what's the temperature outside?
You know what? It actually wasn't. It didn't feel too bad.
It's not bad.
Yeah, so I would say...
My car said 93.
That's about... I was going to say 92.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Car said 93. Right now, here's what I have for weather for the Dallas-Fort Worth sunny Metroplex. 83 degrees Fahrenheit with partly cloudy skies.
83 degrees?
That's what it says. That's what it says what it is right here. This is according to the AccuWeather.com. 82 degrees Fahrenheit at 12:09 p.m. for Dallas, Texas. Partly sunny skies. The high today, Jimmy, will be reaching 94 degrees. The lows in the outlying suburbs, 75. For the weekend, it's going to stay about the same. 94 on Friday, 92 is your high on Saturday. Sunday, another 92. Evenings be a bit cooler, 70s throughout the weekend. I hope you enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday.
70s, man.
How was that?
That was amazing. Can we do that every day?
Oh, like a little fake weather thing?
Yeah.
Sure. I could do that. I could do weather.
70s, man.
I didn't even have a script on that. I was just winging it. I was just being a broadcast professional.
We could definitely send that over to CW33.
Yeah? Seriously, yeah. I mean, I could drive over to their garage studio and, hang out for the 9:15 news or whatever the hell that is. Don't they have news at a weird time?
I don't know. They do everything just to be, like, for the sake of being different.
Like, I thought they had news at, like, 7.
Yeah.
Like, so, seriously, I'm not kidding.
They?
There's, like, some news station here in town that puts news at 7. And I'm wondering... who is this for? Is this for the people who were stuck in traffic, who missed the evening news, who really need the CW news or whatever it is? Because everybody else, that's prime time. I mean, you're going up against the Dancing with the Stars, the American Idols, the America's Got Talent. You can do a local newscast against that. I mean, I guess.
How does local news do? Because I know that, like, I'm very odd. Like, I will know what's going on, like, across the other side of the globe,
right,
but I don't know what's going on next door.
Well, that's what's happened to us, Jimmy Ryan.
Yeah.
Now, there was a time when local news was the biggest thing. At 10 o'clock at night, your local news stations were doing, like, 15 shares, like, just massive. Everybody was watching because you watched the local ABC affiliate, NBC affiliate, or the CBS affiliate. But now that we have the internet, we live in a global society, we really don't have a clue what's going on in our backyard. I know that when I'm prepping every day, I will rarely look at local Dallas prep. And I don't watch local news. I mean, there's really nothing going on. I'm more concerned about, drones that we're dropping in the water off the Persian Gulf. We now got swimming drones. Have you seen these?
Oh, no, I want to see these.
Yeah, they look like dolphins.
So they got video?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
We've got like a whole fleet of them that apparently we've been running around the Persian Gulf with.
You know, in no way am I pro-war. I'm, like, ridiculously against it, I guess. But, like, really, when it comes down to it, we are so badass at it.
We are good at it, yeah.
We got swimming drones.
Swimming drones. Yeah.
I mean, this is really turning into a sci-fi movie.
Now, you say you're against war. I mean, don't you believe that there are good wars? I know that it's popular to say there are no good wars, but no, there are. There are noble wars.
Right.
World War II in the Nazis, what they were doing to the Jews, that was a noble war.
Yeah. No, yeah. But at the same time, I mean, like, there was a lot of talk about the fact that they were just going to implode on themselves. Germany. I mean, they were really stretching themselves thin.
Well, yeah, but they were also killing people left and right. You can't let genocide go on.
I know, but I mean, like, it's...
Although it's interesting, we do let genocide go on all over the place.
Oh, sure.
There have been genocides in Africa and in parts of Asia, Southeast Asia, that would put what Hitler did to shame.
Yeah. We don't pay attention to those, though.
No, we don't. We don't pay attention to those because they're not white European people. They're little brown people, and we just let them do whatever they want in the Western world. We don't care about what they do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm. That's why I say I'm ridiculously against it, because even in times when, like, I think that I would definitely be the guy that's like, nah, we should hold out, guys, just a little longer, see how this thing works out.
I think also the Japanese side of it in World War II, that was noble. They attacked us. We had no beef with them. They just decided to team up with Hitler, and they They japped us, as the saying goes.
Yes.
They totally japped us on Sunday morning at Pearl Harbor. So that was noble. I mean, you've got to respond to that. I think the initial troop buildup and all that in Afghanistan after 9/11 to root out the Taliban, that was noble. Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of wars of opportunity. And I think that those happen more often than these noble. For instance, Iraq, war of opportunity.
Yeah. It's easy to make an enemy of people that you don't really know all that well. You know what I mean? So you can just basically say, yeah, that guy's an asshole. Here's the reasons why. Just put down your list.
Well, now, there's Drudge Report. I watch the Drudge Report every day because I'm monitoring it for racist and just, incendiary sort of stuff. Because he's a pot stirrer. He's doing a lot of... I'll tell you, Matt Drudge is about as responsible for the divisiveness in this country as anybody else, certainly over the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. And he's got this quote, and I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but this really bugged me. Here, you know what? As a matter of fact, I will pull it up for you, and I will read the quote, because everything that Matt Drudge puts on his website, especially if it has to do with Obama, it's got a negative spin on it, and you have to read it like that. You have to read the headline like it's got a negative spin on it, because that's what's intended. All right, so here's the headline. We got a problem with Venezuela. Mm-hmm. I mean, we don't really have a problem with Venezuela, but people are trying to make us think we have a problem with Venezuela because they got a crap ton of oil. Mm-hmm. And we would love to go down there and just steal all of those little brown people's oil. That is what we want to do. It's easier than having to travel halfway across the globe.
It is awfully convenient.
It's very convenient for us. So what we've done is we've kind of trumped up this guy, Hugo Chavez, as being this incredibly evil guy. So here's what the Drudge Report says about Chavez. Where is it? I want to find it. It was funny. Something about Romney, a felon, Penn State, stage culture, war drums, moving. Hold on, I'll find it. I didn't even intend to get into this, but you know what? It is a thing that's bugging me the most.
I'm amazed that Drudge Report has never felt the need to update the look of their site. I mean, it really is. It goes along with the days of GeoCities.
I love it. I love it. It is so basic. Yeah. It is so perfect. And now it's their thing. All right, here's the headline. Obama. Hugo Chavez has not posed, quote, serious national security threat. So President Obama is saying that Hugo Chavez has not posed, and then Drudge put in quotations, serious national security threat. Well, absolutely right. They're absolutely right. There is no serious threat from Venezuela other than the threat that is being pumped into our brains through these conservative right-wing television programs and radio broadcasts that are trying to convince us that Hugo Chavez is a boogeyman. Do you know what Hugo Chavez did that got on our radar, on our shit radar?
What was it?
Okay, so they got a lot of oil down there, right? Mm-hmm. And all of that oil used to be taken by American oil companies who had their big drilling down there and refineries and all that. And basically they paid a juice to Venezuela. But, the American oil companies took all the oil. Hugo Chavez came in a number of years ago and shut down all the American oil companies and said, get out of here. You're raping our natural resources. We're going to nationalize the oil. So now all of the oil in Venezuela is nationalized. And that's why they have excellent schools down there. That's why their streets are paved in freaking gold.
Yeah.
A bit hyperbole there. But I watched the documentary about South America and about all these leaders in South America, the Kirchners down there in Argentina and Hugo Chavez and all that. Wouldn't you think from the way people talk about Hugo Chavez that he's got death camps and his people hate him and he's some kind of ruthless dictator?
Yeah.
They freaking love him. Because he has pumped all of the wealth of Argentina's oil back into the culture. Mm. That's a high-flying culture right now.
Right.
And that's why we hate them. Because they're not a bunch of impoverished little brown people, and dudes from Texas and Oklahoma ain't pulling out of there with shiploads of oil every day.
They're showing a path to promise. I mean, that whole area usually is, inundated with just poor areas, but all of a sudden you got Venezuela that's able to pull it off. So
it's unfair. We got to be fair as Americans. The guy is not amassing troops along the borders. He's not invading his neighbors. He's not making any threats to us. All he did was say, "Hey, American oil companies, change of policy now that I'm president. You no longer get the oil here in this country because, after all, it is Venezuela, and we are Venezuelans. We're going to take this oil, and we're going to build a better society." Well, that was apparently enough to get him on our shit radar, and now he's like the Antichrist in South America.
Yeah.
It's insane. The guy really did nothing. The guy did nothing. Oh, and so now because he knows that America's got all of this heavy influence that's chesting up against them, he has to go around and make friends with people. So he's friendly with Iran. But only because your enemy's enemy is your friend. And right now, the United States has made Venezuela an enemy, and Venezuela's like, why are we the enemy? All right, well, I guess we're going to have to make some friends with other people, since at any moment, the United States of America could start carpet bombing our beaches. Do they have beaches in Venezuela?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, they do.
Do they?
I think they do. I imagine it's just one giant, like, Caribbean, beautiful place. All right, let's get into some three things here. First, did you see Robert Blake last night?
I did not.
Dude.
No.
You missed it. You missed it. I got so many IMs from people. I got so many people actually watched it, thanking me. Hey, Pugs, that was a great idea. Dude, Robert Blake was on Piers Morgan last night for the entire hour, and it was one of the most fascinating interviews that I have ever seen. Now, are you familiar, because I never know with you, are you familiar with Robert Blake and what his deal is?
Just basically that he was in court for trying to kill his wife, right?
Well, his wife, not trying to, his wife was dead.
Yeah.
But, I mean, do you know who he is? Do you know why we're interested in
like
Robert
an actor,
Blake?
Right?
Yeah, I mean, but he's a pretty, he really hasn't done much in the last 30 years, but he's also like 80 years old or whatever. But I mean, he started acting in the 1930s. He was a child star. He was Mickey on The Little Rascals, if you ever watched The Little Rascals. Mm-hmm. Then he grew up as a teenager, and he started doing more teen roles, and he still did work in movies. And then in the 60s, he was in Truman Capote's, what was it, In Cold Blood, a critically acclaimed film. When he was the star of it, he played Perry, the murderer in In Cold Blood. And he had some really nice critically acclaimed movie roles. And then he went into television and became a major star on television in the 1970s with Beretta. He won Emmy Awards. I mean, he was a big star. And then in 2001... and it was just before September 11th. He seemed a little upset last night in the interview that this happened just before September 11th, and somehow it didn't wipe him off the front page.
Oh yeah.
He was hoping that, well, September 11th provide me with a little bit of cover so that the entire world. But what it became the distraction. Everybody was focused on September 11th and all that, and then suddenly went, all right, I need a break from that. What's going on with Beretta? And then people would just go and focus on Beretta even more. And he seemed resentful of that. But he's a big movie star. He got hooked up with this. He was old. Like he says, he was worth $25 million. He was retired. He didn't want to do anything. He owned half of Santa Monica. And this con woman, and there is no doubt that she was a con woman. I mean, she has a long history of betrayal and a long history of shady business and all that. This Bonnie Lee, and I forgot her last name, and forgive me, family of Bonnie Lee, for not giving her the proper credit here. I don't remember what her last name was. But anyway, this was a woman who was involved with Christian Brando, who was Marlon Brando's son. And she was also involved at the same time with Robert Blake. And she got pregnant. And she believed that the baby was Christian Brando's baby. But then tests revealed that it wasn't Christian Brando's baby, and it turned out to be Robert Blake's baby. Now, Robert Blake didn't particularly care for this woman, but at the late stages of his life, Robert Blake found it slightly appealing to have a new baby in his life. So he embraced her, gave her a house to live in, got married to her, although it wasn't a real marriage. You know, it was like she was a con woman. It was his baby. She was demanding to be married because she wanted and he was, whatever. Robert Blake, he seems to make a lot of spontaneous decisions. He doesn't seem to really consult with experts on anything. He just seems to be a kind of guy that thinks he knows everything, and so he's just going to do it. So he just went and married her. So
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. So the baby's born, and now they got a baby. He's really happy. He can't stand her, but he loves the baby. That's his deal. And then one night they go out to dinner. Same restaurant they go to dinner every Friday night at. A restaurant, by the way, that has a menu item named after Robert Blake. That's probably why he goes there. Makes him feel like a big deal.
Oh, it is nice to go places where you're known.
That is a trick that restaurants do, by the way. They will if someone of local renown or national renown comes in there frequently, they'll name something on the menu after them because one, they know that it gets that person to come back in more often because that person likes to bring people to a place where they've got something. You know what I mean? It's like an ego thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that people will look at it and go, "Oh, Robert Blake must hang out here because they've got the Robert Blake sandwich." Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's a ploy.
Is it especially like make you feel bad like if your name's being taken down as the sandwich?
Yeah,
and, like,
that's bad.
Being renamed.
That's not good.
Like it goes from like the Jimmy to the Robert Blake.
Or if it's not a good sandwich, like if it's not something that you like, and then your name is attached to something that you would never order.
Yeah, like most people get sick after that one.
Right. Like for instance, the at Weinberger's Deli, they've still got a sandwich named after me. Thank you.
That's
Thank
right.
you, Dan.
Yeah.
And it's a sandwich. He just made the sandwich and named it after me, and I was very concerned that I wouldn't like the sandwich. Mm-hmm. Turns out I love the sandwich.
Nice.
I don't know what it is, but I know that the bun is like a pretzel bun. And it's awesome.
Yeah, pretzel bun's the way to go. So did
really
he
good.
consult with you at all, or did he just say, "Hey, give this a shot if you like it"?
No, he just made a number of sandwiches. He made a sandwich that he thought that Kelly would like, and a sandwich he thought I would like. And he was right. I did. I liked it. I liked it. So you can go to Weinberger's and you can get the, I believe, Pugs Wicked Sandwich.
Right there. Look at how that worked. You were saying that it works.
Not a pretzel roll. It's like a pretzel roll, but it's called a Kemmelwick bun. You know what that is?
No.
It's like salty on the outside. Oh, it's really good.
Does it taste like a pretzel bun?
Yeah, it tastes like a pretzel. Nice. And there's like horseradish involved. I mean, it seemed like something that I wouldn't normally make if I had all the fixings for a sandwich, but I ate it and I went, this is delicious. This is really good.
Wow.
All right, so he goes to dinner with Bonnie Lee, and they leave, and they walk back to his car, which, if I remember correctly, was like a 10-year-old Firebird.
Wow.
Yeah, Beretta was driving around in 2001 in like a 1991 Firebird. Nice. Whatever, he's Beretta. At that point, he was Beretta still. He's still a cool dude. Hey, it's Beretta, it's Tony Beretta. So they walk out to the car. He gets to the car, and this is where the story gets a little hinky. Beretta, I'm just going to call him Beretta. Beretta realizes that he left his gun inside the restaurant. So he opens up the car and puts Bonnie Lee in the car, and she sits in the car on the side of the street, and she's waiting. Beretta goes back to get his gun. When he comes back from the restaurant with his gun, she's dead. She's shot and killed in the car. And that's it. That's all we have to go on. Yeah. That's it. That's the whole story. Court case, take it from there. That's pretty much all there was. But it turns out, I never believed, after all the information about Bonnie Lee started coming out, I never believed that he killed her. And he said something last night that made so much sense. He said, why would I do that? That is the stupidest thing. Why would I say I went back for my gun? And by the way, the gun, his personal gun, was not the gun used in the shooting. They figured all of that out. Wow. He's like, if I wanted her dead, he goes, I would have, he was basically looking at her like a full-time nanny for his newborn daughter that he wanted to keep, He said, why would I do that? If I wanted to have her killed, I could have paid any number of people to follow her around. She was wanted by so many people. She was on the road all the time doing this and that. I could have killed her 1,000 miles away from her, and I wouldn't even have been there. I would have just paid some. And he's kind of right. It was really a messed up situation, and she was so shady that there is no doubt in my mind that there were probably a number of people out there that wanted to rub her out because she had been involved in all kinds of shady deals. She was a chick who went to Hollywood who tried to become an actress, who knew that she couldn't become an actress, so then she just started trying to get knocked up by famous guys. And it worked. And so she had a lot of enemies. But man, he was off his rocker last night. It was awesome. If you get a chance to see it, and they'll replay it this weekend because they're going to play the hell out of it. It's the best thing that Piers Morgan has ever done on his show.
Wow.
He was crazy. Robert Blake is such an interesting dude. And he uses, if you're not familiar with Robert Blake, he speaks in this sort of New York City kind of 1950s, you could take that to the bank, Jack, kind of way. He's very much like that. Yeah. And there was a point where, and it was so funny, he started going on, me and another guy online, we had to research this phrase because we didn't know, we'd never heard the phrase before. But he looks at Charlie Potatoes, and he looks at Piers Morgan, and he goes, I'll tell you something, Charlie Potatoes. Why do you think I would have her killed? You tell me, with all your knowledge and all your hubbub, Charlie Potatoes, you can take that to the bank. He rattled that off, and I was like, oh, what's Charlie Potatoes? So I looked up Charlie Potatoes. Turns out it's a line from a Tony Curtis movie in the 1950s where he was trying to be a big shot, and he changed his name to Charlie Potatoes.
Wow.
It was fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robert Blake is very trapped in another era.
Sounds like it.
He's still a member of Sinatra's Rat Pack kind of thing, the way he talks and the way he exists. Fascinating guy, man. I don't think he killed his wife. I really don't think he killed her. I think he might know a little bit more than he's letting out, but I don't think he did it. It was a great interview. All right, last night at Piers Morgan. Hey, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Penn State story. That's the big one that's breaking this morning. Have you been seeing these news headlines?
Yes, I have, actually.
Boy, oh boy. I have a friend who I cannot wait to talk to later today because he is a massive Penn State fan. Went to Penn State, loves Penn State.
Sorry.
Wrestled on Penn State's wrestling team. I mean, he is a Joe Paterno freak. And I can't wait to talk to him later today to find out what his opinion is of all this. So we'll take a break. We'll come back. We're going to talk about Penn State and some other things. It's thebarlive.com PMS, the Pugs Moran Show. Back after this. thebarlive.com. PMS, the Pugs Moran Show here on thebarlive.com. Check us out on Facebook as well, Bar Live on Facebook, and the website as well, thebarlive.com. Okay, here's something fun. You and I are both into this whole space exploration thing. We're both a couple of geeks. See what Richard Branson has announced today for Virgin Galactic?
Yeah, he's going to be sending out, expanding the entire service so that they can actually send out packages and satellites and all types of good stuff.
Well, but that's not the big news.
Oh, no?
Well, maybe it is. The interesting news is that he has already filled the first plane. Here's what Virgin Galactic is. It's Richard Branson, the guy who owns Virgin Airlines, started Virgin Records, entrepreneur, billionaire, a balloon guy. You may know him as the guy that floats around the world in balloons, breaking all kinds of records and all that kind of thing. He has now turned his sights on space exploration. He's got a new company called Virgin Galactic, which will produce these planes that actually allow people to go into orbit. Now, I don't know all the details of it. I know it's like sort of a near-Earth orbit kind of a thing, but you'll get the experience of being in outer space. He has decided that for the very first flight, you know who's going to be on board?
Ashton Kutcher, right?
No. Ashton Kutcher has bought a seat, but not for the very first flight. Very first flight. That's going to go to... He's taking his whole family
Yeah?
on the very first flight.
Nice. You know, this is the reason why I'm looking for a new mobile service, and I usually would never do like a month-to-month plan, but Virgin Mobile
But you like
has
Virgin?
one. Yeah, well, I feel like when I have a Verizon right now, and every single time I make the bill payment, first of all, it's crazy high. It's like $110, $120 a month, and I'm giving it to a company, Verizon. Whereas I could be giving it to Virgin. It's like, I kind of feel like I'm putting money towards the space program.
Look, yeah, I gotta tell you, if I gotta give money to any big multi-conglomerate, it would be Richard Branson or anything that he's involved in, because everything that he has ever done has been top-notch, and it doesn't seem shady.
No.
Like, for instance, we talked about this. You've flown Virgin, right?
The planes, yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
They're like the most beautiful way to experience transatlantic air travel possible.
Yeah, I'm midway through a flight on American Airlines. You envision what it would be like to be in
on a Virgin flight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or as I think I said, the other one that I liked was Aer Lingus, the Irish airline that I flew. It was also amazing. Yeah, they put American is like Greyhound and Trailways compared to some of these European airlines.
I've heard Korean Air is beautiful.
Yeah,
like
I've heard that too.
Their setup.
Yeah, and there's also a Japanese airline that is supposed to be spectacular. If you have to go around the world to Japan, you want to fly that.
What are we doing?
What we're doing is we're cramming as many people for as much money as they're willing to pay onto basically buses with wings, and we're flying them from Cleveland to Louisville.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we're doing, just cramming people in.
Yeah.
All right, here's the story. British tycoon Richard Branson stole the show Wednesday, announcing that he and his family would be on Virgin Galactic's first trip into space, as Airbus and Boeing eked out more plane orders. Branson was showcasing a full-size mock-up of his Spaceship Two aircraft at the Biennial Farnborough Air Show near London, a key event in the aviation sector calendar that typically sees plane makers Airbus and Boeing battle for orders. Obviously, this is the most exciting adventure I've ever undertaken, Branson, founder of Virgin Galactic Space Program, told the AFP. It's both an entrepreneurial and personal adventure in being able to build a spaceship and ask my 2 adult children to come along with me for the ride.
What a badass dad to have.
First of all, it doesn't get any better than having Richard Branson as your dad. I don't even care if he was absent. I don't know. I don't know that he was. But, you know, it could turn out one of these kids could write a book in a couple of years talking about how dad was never there. Right. So what? You know, my dad was never there because he was dead, and I grew up broke. Look at you kids. Stop your complaining. Toughen up, you little bastards. He's taking you to space. You know what? Maybe my dad wasn't there, but he never took me to space.
Right. I mean, like, even when one kid did start getting weak or whatever, you would think that the brother would, like, go over to him and be like, dude, it's Richard Branson, okay? He's not going to be around all the time. He's going to be taking us to places like space. This isn't going to be normal.
Right. It's not going to be a normal life.
Yeah.
Imagine the tabs the kids had at the Virgin Megastores a few years ago.
Oh, man.
Oh, it'd be fantastic.
Coolest kid on the block.
Oh, absolutely. all the cool laptop bags you want.
Yeah.
All the cool work shirts with Stone Temple Pilots written on it, you know, all that cool stuff they used to have at Virgin Megastore. But here's the problem, and this is the thing that I mean, is he considering this? This is exactly the case or the story of Lost in Space. Do you remember the TV show Lost in Space? Of course you don't, Jimmy Ryan. It's like talking to a wall sometimes. The Robinson family. It was basically a parallel of Swiss Family Robinson, except in space. In the Robinson family...
If you notice, I do at least carry it towards everything that's nonfiction, and then you make a nonfiction reference.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, the plot of Lost in Space was that the Robinson family aboard the Jupiter 2 were the first family to go on this inner space trip, and things went horribly wrong, and they ended up lost in space forever.
I guess that's where the name came from.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is kind of like that. All right, never mind. We'll move on. I just thought it was interesting that Richard Branson was trying to reenact the real-life version of Lost in Space.
No, I think it's awesome. I just don't get the Lost in Space reference. But I think that it's amazing, man. We can start sending things up there. Did you even see the
movie in the 90s, Lost in Space, with Matt LeBlanc?
No. Oh, why would I watch that?
I saw it. I saw it
a lot of things.
Because I liked the TV show Lost in Space, so I went and saw the big screen movie.
Matt LeBlanc. Wonder why he's not working all the time.
He is. What are you talking about? He won a Golden Globe last year. He's on the show Episodes on Showtime, and he's excellent on it.
The show Episodes?
Yeah, you've never seen Episodes?
Cool. Well, of course not. No, but
see, but no, but Jimmy, see, this is not crazy because Episodes is a high-tier, smart, good Showtime show.
There are many high-tiered, smart shows that I don't watch. I mainly watch documentaries. If you talk about a documentary, chances are I've seen it. But I just don't watch any stories. Like, I'm really having to fight through Battlestar Galactica. I got midway through another episode yesterday. How can you be trying to
fight through Battlestar Galactica? You're supposed to need to watch that. You're supposed to be... forget it. Just bail out. If it's not for you, it's not for you. Never mind. I'm done with it.
Well, no, I was very excited because I was telling you, one of the things that I like about sci-fi, or what I think that they should really do, is pay a lot of attention to how they're surviving. So I see that there is one thing, how are they getting their meats, their foods, things like that. I'd like to find out how they would do that in the future in this little thing, So I see an episode coming up called The Farm, and I'm like, oh, here we go. They're gonna actually start talking about something horrible that's gone on, in their farming system, and now that's turning into an issue. That would be really cool. But no, it ends up being, and it was also kind of cool, a farm for half humans, half droids. That are being basically, do you remember the episode?
No.
Yeah.
No. I gotta go. I gotta figure out how you're watching all these because I need to watch all of the old Battlestar Galactica episodes again. It's time. It's been a couple of years since I've seen them, so now I need to go back and watch them again. So I can remember how excellent that TV show was. Still, the greatest 1-hour television show in the history of TV. I don't care what you say.
It's really good. It's just really long. It's really long.
All right. So anyway, Matt LeBlanc. So I got to tell you about this because I got to hit you. I don't know if people are watching Episodes. I love Episodes. All right. Here's what it's about. All right. Are you ready? Tell me if this concept is at least even slightly interesting to you. Two people, English television producers, a husband and wife. Okay. They create this television show in England, kind of like The Office. Think about The Office. Okay. Think about how well received The Office was and how critically acclaimed in England. And then what happens? Well, someone from an American television studio comes over to England and basically recruits them to create, like they did with Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant, an American version of this English show that is so popular in England. And it's won all kinds of awards. It's a very high-tier comedy show.
Yeah.
So, of course, they bring it over to America. And the first thing that goes horribly wrong is that they replace the lead character, who was a headmaster. The English version of the show was about a boys' boarding school, an elite boys' boarding school. Think Dead Poets Society, which you probably didn't see.
I actually did, yeah.
Okay. Think Dead Poets Society. So that's the English version of the show. And the headmaster, the star, is this old, venerable, former Academy Award-winning British Sir whatever, and he's the star. So they come over to America to do the show, and they just take it for granted that this Sir whatever is going to be brought along to star in the show because he's the star of the show. And then, of course, they land in L.A., and the first thing that they learn is that, we've recast the lead. It's no longer Sir Ian Heberbather. It's now Matt LeBlanc from Friends. And that's the whole show. That's what the show's about. These English people having their smart, intellectual show completely dumbed down by the American television audience. And Matt LeBlanc is the star. And Matt LeBlanc plays Matt LeBlanc.
That's funny.
And it's hysterical. The way he plays himself is hysterical.
Is it the first season right now?
Second season. Second season just started.
Wow. I'm surprised. Usually at least I'll catch wind of a show that's going on. I haven't even heard about that.
I think Sam watches it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Matt LeBlanc won a Golden Globe for it. So, yeah, it's all right. That's all right. Let me see here. I wanted to pull a nice. Here, all right, I'm gonna play this. This is a little Matt LeBlanc from Episodes. Okay, let's see if this means anything. See if you dig on this. Oh, and of course we get the damn commercials. Hey, who wants to go for a 4-course seafood feast for $14.99 at Red Lobster?
Oh, when we leaving?
I ain't going to Red Lobster.
Yeah.
Go ahead, play the commercial. We only got 3 seconds left. All right, once again, this is an example of Matt LeBlanc from Episodes.
In Hollywood, it's all about relationships.
What is it with you and other people's wives? Are there no other women in the world who aren't the spouses of people you know? What?
I've missed this.
Having the respect of your peers.
You really are horrifying.
With you, I'm in a constant state of piss.
You look great.
By the way, all these things, they're saying all these things to Matt LeBlanc. Like, Matt LeBlanc is basically, all he does is sleep with married women. And these English people cannot, and Matt LeBlanc wants to be their friend so badly because they're like really well-respected writers and all that, and Matt LeBlanc is looking to sort of shake the Joey image, but he can't shake it because he really is just Matt LeBlanc. Matt LeBlanc really is Joey.
You sweet. And friends you can count on. Mr. Perry. David. Lisa Kudrow. Hey. Hello?
It's like,
I just want you to know I have learned my lesson. The fact that you're screwing someone else's wife now. But I'm not screwing yours. That was the lesson.
When you've got a Golden Globe.
What's the likelihood of this ending in a hug? Very, very slim.
Matt LeBlanc returns in his award-winning role.
he's really good in it. And, you know, before this show, I was very much like, Joey, what? But he plays himself. So he obviously has a great sense of humor about himself. And why wouldn't he? He's young still. He's still very good looking. He's got friends money. Do you know what friends money in the bank is?
Yeah.
Hundreds of millions of dollars from syndication. I mean, it's retarded how wealthy he is. And he seems to be a pretty happy guy, and he's having fun poking some shots at his image.
Yeah, it's a good move, really. And if you're trying to get rid of that old image, it's good to make fun of yourself.
And that's what he has said.
Yeah.
He said, he goes, you know, look, everyone's going to see me as Joey. I'm typecast for the rest of my life. The only thing that I can do is sort of play against that type, and the way to do that is to play myself as Joey.
Right, yeah.
That I can't break away from it because that really is who I am.
And it also makes it to where you can only play up the part of that is bad, which makes people like you. Mm-hmm. Like, he's not going to show, like, parts where, like, you know, like, he's just constant. Well, maybe he will just get random girls, you know, trying to pick him up. But also the annoying parts, those are fun to focus on.
But he really is a dick, though. But he doesn't know he's a dick because he's a pampered Hollywood celebrity.
Yeah.
Like, he's a nice guy. Like, he wants everyone to like him and he wants to be friends. But he will have sex with your wife.
Yeah.
He will. I mean, and he'll just smile about it and apologize and say, I can't help it. It's just me, you know?
That's funny.
All right, so there you go. All right, I wanted to get into this whole Penn State story. You been following that today? Mm-hmm. All right, so the FBI, boy, oh boy, Louis Freeh, the director of the FBI, he came down hard on Penn State. I mean, this is the report, the full official report of what went on during the Sandusky trial. I'll read you the story instead of, we'll do it this way. Let former FBI Director Louis Freeh tell you a story, one he detailed in his Penn State University Jerry Sandusky report released Thursday. There was this big, respected university with an iconic legend as its football coach. It also had a pedophile operating in its program. School officials knew this back in 1998 and covered it up. They chose this humane route of covering up, turning their backs and protecting themselves rather than kids for more than a decade as boys went on being raped in the campus showers and on football trips. They did this because it benefited them. I'm trying to get to the whole thing. They did this because it benefited them, was easier for them, and protected what they valued most, the football program. Could former Nittany Lions coach Joe Paterno have stopped Sandusky? Now here's Louis Freeh. It's a very strong and reasonable inference that he could have done so if he had wished. Freeh also detailed how facts and witnesses and evidence back up a conclusion that, quote, in order to avoid the consequences of bad publicity, the most powerful leaders at Penn State University, Messrs. Spanier, Schultz, Paterno, and Curley, that's the president, the vice president, the head football coach, and the AD, repeatedly concealed critical facts relating to the Sandusky child abuse case. Again and again, the 269-page report by Louis Freeh's group showed how Penn State officials had a callous and shocking disregard for child victims. They lied, then lied about their lies. Even now, the loyalty to the lie about Paterno being a man of integrity, despite evidence proving he lied to a grand jury regarding his knowledge of the 88 investigation, is galling. The moral of Louis Freeh's story comes courtesy of the AMC show Breaking Bad, specifically Mike the Cleaner. It's not important that you watch the show. It's important that you understand the universally, wow, I've never seen that word. Universality. It's important that you understand the universality of the futility of half measures in some situations. We can never make that mistake again. No more measures. So basically what they found out was that after the 1998 incident, everyone knew that Sandusky was screwing around with kids. President of the university, Spanier, was actually, what was his name? What was his first name? I don't know. I can't think of it. President of the university, the vice president of the university, Schultz, and Curley, the athletic director, were about to go to the police. They said, look, we got to stop this. This guy is, I don't care who he is. I don't care that he's Joe Paterno's best friend. This guy is raping children. Mm-hmm. And it looks now systematically raping children over the course of years and years and years. They were going to the police, and then Joe Paterno wrote an email basically flexing his muscles on campus as the icon of Penn State.
It was really kind of common knowledge to everybody, wasn't it? I mean, at some point, it just became kind of the joke. So I mean, that's the thing that's always blown me away, is that everyone's pissed off at like the people that were running the place, but like everybody knew, everybody knew. I mean, there was already a case. It was already kind of the underlying theme of that creepy little organization. So, it's unbelievable. But at the same time, I mean, like the head of like the not the program, but the actual school,
Graham Spanier.
How old is that guy? Like, was he there?
He's not as old as Paterno. I mean,
Right.
he just resigned. He resigned last year in the wake of all of these allegations and stuff. Now, he's gone. Everybody's gone. I mean, multiple people are under indictment. I know that the athletic director, Tim Curley's under indictment. Gary Schultz, the former vice president of the school, is under indictment. It seems like Spanier, for the most part, at least for now, has escaped, although I could be wrong on that. And, of course, Paterno is dead. Now, it's probably good that he's dead because now they've got the only thing you've got is meathead backlash if you want to tell the truth about what Joe Paterno did. The bottom line is that Joe Paterno, this guy, we are all such sheep, folks. We have been led to believe. We put these football coaches on these pedestals, and every Saturday afternoon we listen to blowhards like Keith Jackson tell us about the honorable man and all of the. None of these people are honorable. Football coaching is not an honorable profession.
No, that's not true. It absolutely is.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. No, it absolutely is.
Where in what world, in what universe is football coach an honorable profession?
Oh no! I mean, like when I was growing up, I grew up with like a lot of kids that obviously were not going to find their ways into a biochemistry class. You know what I mean? They aren't going to be doing that. But they actually learned, and I learned a lot of life lessons in playing football. So
Hold on a second. We were talking about two different stages. You're talking about youth programs and all that stuff, where the football coach might also be the soccer coach.
Through high school and college.
Those are people giving back to the community. Those are active. Those are men who are active and involved.
But
and
also
there's
college.
No. I think when you get to the level of big-time, billion-dollar college football,
you get more cutthroat, yeah.
But the players are no longer kids that you're guiding. Like the way they make it, well, he tries to instill integrity in these kids. No, he doesn't. If that kid couldn't run a 4.4 40, he wouldn't give a rat's ass about him.
No, he wouldn't. But the thing is that the people that can, they do still need guiding. I mean, you've seen the kids that get drafted into the NFL. They still need guidance. They're still kids. So, I mean, like, the thing about football coaches is they understand that, really good ones, and they'll guide you through that. They need it because they're seriously, like, the minds of 13-year-olds
You don't think every major football coach cheats?
No, I think that they do. But
okay, so that's a lack of integrity. That's not an honorable man.
Right, but you learn a lot about yourself in football, and those coaches understand that. There's something that's really cool about that. That's one of the only things that like I really miss about football is like that kind of camaraderie and also learning a lot. And there's a lot of cool things about being a football coach. Now, these guys were scumbags. I'm not saying that these guys weren't. These guys obviously were.
But Joe Paterno is obviously one of the biggest scumbags out there because he cared more about his football program and his reputation than the children who were being raped by his best friend, who remained, by the way, his best friend. He was knowingly best friends with a child rapist.
Yeah, so I mean, to say that because of Joe Paterno, the job of being a head coach is not a good thing, I wouldn't go that far. I would say Joe Paterno is an asshole.
Yeah.
But most head coaches are really great guys.
The real damning thing about this is that this occurred in 1998, and they believe that there were 5 to 10 other victims that happened after Joe Paterno stopped Curly and Spanier from going to the authorities and reporting Sandusky. So those kids, those children who were raped, those are that blood is on the corpse of Joe Paterno.
Yeah.
Joe Paterno did nothing. He did not. He cared more about the goddamn football program than he did about. And now there are stories. There are stories poking around and popping up, and people are. This story is not dead, folks. This story is going to go on. There are rumors of a child sex ring that was operating where they would go to camps and they would fly in rich men from all over the country to go to these wooded cabins, and there'd be kids there, and they'd have sex. I mean, it's disgusting. Some of these things that are being floated out there about, well, they're investigating this and they're investigating that. I mean, there was a lot more coming from this.
There's an infamous...
It killed Joe Paterno. I imagine that this killed Joe Paterno because he knew exactly what was coming for him.
There's a really infamous documentary that PBS started doing. I think it was like in the early 90s. And it actually ended up making mention of Penn State at one point. And they were talking about child pedophilia rings. And basically, they ended up getting so far entrenched that they ended up finding people that worked for the government, as far as congressmen that were involved. And they ended up shutting down funding for the PBS documentary, which ended up leaking about 5 years later. And some of the stuff in there, I mean, you just cannot believe how open and how big of a thing this is. This is a real ring where people are excited about this. Yeah.
If you think that there aren't multi-millionaire pedophiles out there, you're insane. And when these guys don't have to cruise the neighborhood parks in their conversion van, these guys have a network. These guys all go off to like freaking Central America, hang out on the beach, and they have sex with children. I mean, sex tourism is a real thing.
They're so well off and so self-righteous that it's almost like they have the right to do it.
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of the mentality that I got from that entire documentary.
Have you ever seen the movie 8mm? Mm-mm. It was a movie about basically snuff films. You know what snuff films are? Where they actually kill people on film for the enjoyment of a select few that pay like hundreds of thousands of dollars for a copy of the tape to sit and watch someone get killed. I mean, that's what 8mm. That's a real thing. Those kinds of, well, I mean, I don't know if that's, I mean, I imagine it is. I mean, I imagine there's some crazy Eastern European billionaires that have done some pretty whacked out stuff. But what I'm saying is that there are some shady things going on with rich people and we don't even know about. And I think that this is going to blow the lid off it. I think there's one investigation in particular that's being done by some guy who works for ESPN, and they've been floating this for a while. Is it Jeremy? It might be Jeremy Schaap, but he's working on something. And it started with the Bernie Fine thing at Syracuse, which was another situation, which, by the way, Syracuse handled that much better than Penn State handled their situation. Of course, they had the luxury of seeing Penn State go up in flames first, so they knew what to avoid. But, I mean, this is just... the reason I'm so angry is because I bought into the bullshit for the first 30 years of my life, or whatever you want to say. I thought that Joe Paterno was this iconic guy, what every other football coach should strive to be. And now I find out that the guy was a monster. Mm-hmm. And if you think that covering up for your best friend who is a child rapist doesn't make you a monster, then you're a monster. Then you don't understand. You don't understand how this world works and how we're all going to get through this together. We don't allow these things to happen, especially in our own personal universes. If I found out that my best friend was a child rapist, I would go to the police.
Joe Paterno, I think, is the one that, well, you know, is the most responsible for the entire thing. He's the only person who is big enough to actually stand up and say, this is bullshit, we're not going to stand for it anymore. Like, he's the only person. Even the head of the school, I'm definitely not sympathetic, but I understand how that happens. Like, there was a study in like the 30s in Russia where they basically would have people having to press a button, and you would hear people screaming from pain because
Right,
they would.
sure. Yeah, I forgot what
and-
that test is called, but
And basically, they were told that it was for the better good. They never actually saw the pain going on, but they just pressed the button and when they were told to do it, and it was for the better good. And it showed that people were willing to do that until people died. You see what I mean? So like,
They-
as
they will
long as
follow
you think,
orders.
right? So like, the thing is that if that guy was really young, the head of the school, and like you believed that Paterno was this great guy. It's a lot harder to actually go against the grain, and some of those guys were badasses and actually wanted to do it. But
his name
Paterno,
his name is President Graham B. Spanier. A guy with a name like Graham B. Spanier doesn't sound like he was ever young.
right?
You know, that guy sounds like he was born at 45.
He was born proper, which is why I held myself back from saying that I'm sympathetic. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, bombshell, an absolute bombshell for Penn State. The death penalty is now on the table. The NCAA may just drop a bomb on the entire Penn State athletic program. All right. Well, more on this coming, but it's now official. The official report says that Joe Paterno is a scumbag, and I hope he enjoys burning in hell. We'll take a break. We're coming back. It's PMS, the Pugs Moran Show on thebarlive.com. It's thebarlive.com PMS, the Pugs Moran show for a Thursday afternoon. Okay, let's see. What do we got out of the way? We got Richard Branson and Spaceship 2 out of the way. Or I'm just going to start calling it the Jupiter 3. Because that was, Jupiter 2 was what the Lost in Space family was on. Richard Branson announced today that the first trip on his new Virgin Galactic space flight is going to be his family. He's reenacting the whole Lost in Space bit. Good for him. We also talked about Penn State. We got that out of the way. Let's see. What else do we have here? There's some stories. There's some rumors here. Let me fly these past you, okay? Now, the whole Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes thing seems to be settled. Right? It seems like, and look, to my chagrin, I'll put up with it. Whatever works best for little Surrey. She's so cute.
Somebody will get the exclusive with Katie Holmes here, like a couple months.
Well, I'd like to get the exclusive with Katie Holmes.
Yeah.
God, I don't know what has happened in the last couple of weeks, but she is now like she's number one on my hot chick list.
Yeah, she would have stayed on my hot chick list, like number one, but she was just in the middle of a cult situation. So
right.
Yeah.
But I was never even really. I mean, I'll acknowledge that she was an attractive woman. Don't get me wrong, but I first knew her as Joey Potter on Dawson's Creek, and she was a kid. I was 27 or something, and she was 17 or whatever.
Yeah, that was my first like TV crush.
Really?
Like big time.
I
Like
can
Joey,
see why.
Yeah, Joey Potter. Yeah.
She was cute.
Yeah, I even did the rooftop thing at my old house when I was growing up.
What do you mean? Oh, you'd sit up on the rooftop?
Yeah, like my rooftop
Yeah.
was basically like where we would hang out at night.
Really?
Smoke a bit of pot.
Did you have a neighborhood Joey Porter? Or Potter, I guess.
For a little while.
Wait, Joey
And it was
Porter. Joey
excited.
Porter played for the Steelers, didn't he?
Yeah, I had Joey Porter on my rooftop.
No, it was Joey Potter was the Katie Holmes character.
Yeah. Only for a little while, and it was kind of cool because it was right around the same time that Dawson's Creek was running, so we both kind of acknowledged that was going on, and then she moved, so it was a short-term thing.
But she is so beautiful.
Yeah.
She is so beautiful. And all of these pictures that I'm seeing now, and I guess I didn't pay any attention to them because, like you, I think to some degree I wrote her off after she married Tom Cruise and it became a whole Scientology thing. But, okay, probably pretty difficult for you. How tall are you?
6'2".
Yeah, 6'2". You have never dated a girl taller than you.
No.
No.
I've actually met a girl that was really attractive, and when she stood up and was taller than me, it freaked me out, and I stopped talking to her.
Really?
Yeah. I can't date a girl that's taller than me.
Yeah, I'm 6 foot even, and I've never dated a girl that was taller than me. Although I do date tall girls. I do like tall girls. My first wife was tall. A couple of girls I dated here were tall. I mean, I prefer tall girls. Don't get me wrong. You'll see me with a short girl if I'm attracted to her. It's not like I rule out short girls.
I'm more into the short, spunky ones.
My most recent ex-wife was a short girl, so it's not like, I don't have a problem with it. But I like Katie Holmes towers over Tom Cruise. There was a picture I saw yesterday where they were walking down the street with little Surrey in a baby carriage, and Tom was standing straight up, and Katie was bent over doing something with the baby carriage, and she was still just as tall as he was.
Yeah.
And he was standing straight up, and she was bent over. She's a good 4 or 5 inches taller than him.
Yeah.
She's probably 5'10", and he's probably 5'5".
I mean, Surrey's nearly taller than Tom Cruise.
Yeah. That's the other thing. We work in a business where we sometimes get to meet celebrities and see famous people close up. I'm always shocked at how tiny famous people are.
Mine was the guy Sully from Godsmack. When he came in, like literally, I felt like I could just like walk over the top of him because he was just so tiny. And like in all those music videos, he seems like intense and he's like gonna take over the world. But it's like, oh my God, man! Like I almost just wanted to be like, here, I'll help you through here. Like it was the weirdest thing.
I remember about 15 years ago, the Rolling Stones did a press conference in Chicago. And by the way, happy 50th anniversary to the Rolling Stones. 50 years in the music business today.
Damn.
They did a press conference, and they were doing a big show, but they had done a special show the night before at like some little club and all that stuff, and our station was all over it. But I remember sitting in the back of the room, and the Rolling Stones got up, and they walked out. They filed out. They probably walked 10 feet away from me. I mean, I was standing there. I saw, Mick and all of them just like 10 feet away from me. Probably if Brandon was for your edification, for no one else's, but if Brandon was on the other side of that door, it was probably like that far. The Rolling Stones are hobbits.
Wow.
They are unbelievably tiny.
That's crazy.
You know, I also did a movie with Roger Daltrey of The Who. Do you know who The Who is?
Of course, yeah.
I was I was an extra in a movie where Roger Daltrey was the star of the movie, and there was a scene where I had to bump into Roger Daltrey. I was working on a loading dock, and I was loading things, and Roger Daltrey was playing a priest, and he was walking across the loading dock, and I was supposed to like bump into him and then see that he's a priest and just drop the box, like, oh, I'm so ashamed that I hit a priest. We did it twice. We did 2 takes. Nothing I did wrong. They just wanted to do it because I'm just a cog. I'm just an extra. You know, all he's got to do is bump into me, and I got to drop the box. So, well, at any rate, Roger Daltrey was like 5 foot tall.
Wow.
Tiny.
That is so weird. These bands.
But I don't get it. I don't understand. But celebrities in general, too. I'm always shocked. Tom Cruise is tiny. Sylvester Stallone is tiny.
I mean, like, they have that, the small people's group, Mini Kiss. Are they actually just as tall as the people from Kiss?
No, actually, because I've met a couple of the guys from Gene Simmons is big. You've met Gene Simmons, right?
Yeah, that's
Gene
true.
Simmons is big.
Yeah.
He's a big celebrity. You know who else a really big celebrity was?
Who's that?
Usually it's like, oh, they're small, but this one I was like, holy cow, he's huge, was Pat Buchanan.
Ah, I can see that, yeah.
You know what? I think he was doing your show when I met Pat Buchanan. Were you doing Jagger's show that morning?
Uh-huh, yeah. Pat
Buchanan was huge. Huge. He's like 6 foot something, and he's like an old man, but he's like old man big.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it wasn't Pat Buchanan and you told me that, oh, he's a cowboy Ring of Honor from the 1960s, I'd be like, oh yeah, sure, absolutely. He looks like a big giant old football player.
He does. He looks exactly like he would fit that stereotype.
Yeah. Used to play tight end for the Cowboys back in the 60s.
Yeah.
Pat Buchanan. But that's about it. For the most part, celebrities are all tiny. So there are these stories coming out now about why the divorce was ended so quickly and why there doesn't seem to be any real animosity, at least now in the days following the shocking revelation that they had to come to terms over the weekend on their divorce. There are people out there, and apparently the National Enquirer, and don't turn your nose up at the National Enquirer, okay? They, more times than not now, they are dead on their stories. I mean, if they weren't, they'd have been sued out of business 1,000,000 times over.
Yeah,
but
their exposés like on Libya and things that are going on.
All right, stop that. Stop that. Look, what they do, their focus is on celebrity. Absolutely. I give them credit for that. But apparently the National Enquirer has got their hands on some documents that they're going to go public with that say that the entire marriage from the beginning was a sham. That because of after the Nicole Kidman thing, the gay rumors about Tom Cruise were swirling so much that they needed to get him with another woman. And they handpicked Katie Holmes. Apparently, him and this David Miscavige guy, the leader of Scientology, sat and went through a photo book of pictures of Hollywood celebrities. And Tom Cruise picked one.
Wow.
And he picked Katie Holmes. And from the very beginning, there was a 5-year contract. And it was all dependent on them having a baby because the idea was apparently that Tom Cruise wanted, this baby to be the Joan of Arc of Scientology and all that. And that's why the divorce was ended so amicably, because it was all agreed on years ago. It was a loveless marriage. There was nothing there. It was all done for image and for basically the sake of Scientology, because they were getting uncomfortable with all the gay rumors. Imagine the meetings between the Scientology upper brass and John Travolta.
Wow.
If you think they were freaking out about Tom Cruise's alleged homosexuality.
Man. So he did at least get to have sex with Katie Holmes, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, that's their kid.
That kid. There is no... Well, I don't know if they had sex. I'm guessing they did, but that is definitely their kid.
See, because I'm so jealous that Tom Cruise got to play the game of, hey, which Hollywood girl do you want to impregnate?
I know.
Like, that's such a fun game.
I know.
Like, if any friends of mine are able to come up with that game for me, I'm all in. Don't worry about... That would be so fun. Oh, so Katie Holmes or... Maybe Kate Upton.
Do you know that Charlie Sheen, his management team, like 20 years ago, this is one of the great Charlie Machine stories. Charlie Sheen's management used to sign contracts with young, like D-list actresses that were hot, simply so they could send them over to Charlie Sheen. That was the whole deal. Like, and he would go into like an agent's office and go through a photo book and say, all right, I want to go out with this one tonight. Tomorrow night, I want to go out with that one. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
Can life really be that easy for some people?
Yeah, these people at Penn State should take notice. When you have money, you can do really cool things with it. You don't have to do all this creepy ass stuff.
Creepy kid raping junk.
You can get your very own celebrity book.
Are you saying that Charlie Sheen has never done anything creepy, or that Tom Cruise doesn't do anything creepy? Because again, these are the examples we're using. You might want to rethink that.
Hey, but I would rather them do Charlie Sheen creepy. So like if you're gonna have one go, might as well be that one.
All right, what do you say we get into a little douche tournament? We ain't done one of these in a couple of days, so it seems like it's all good right now. All right, the first douche of the day nominee is Kobe Bryant. Have you heard this? Have you heard what Kobe Bryant has to say?
I don't think so, no.
Of course, the United States Olympic basketball team is getting together, and they're getting ready to take on the world. And boy, oh boy, they look like a good team. I'm telling you, I certainly don't see this United States basketball team dropping any. I mean, they got everybody. It's a team full of studs. Kobe Bryant ran his mouth yesterday saying that this current U.S. Olympic team could beat the '92 Dream Team that had Jordan and Bird and Magic and like all of these guys. And basically the entire basketball universe is mocking Kobe Bryant today. Says, here's from Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan says there's no way Kobe Bryant and this year's U.S. Olympic basketball team could have beaten the '92 Dream Team. Jordan told the Associated Press Thursday that he laughed. I absolutely laughed out loud, quote, when hearing Bryant's comments that the squad training in Las Vegas could take Jordan and company. Jordan says there was, quote, no comparison which team was better, adding that Bryant comparing the two teams is not one of the smarter things he ever could have done. Jordan spoke prior to a celebrity golf tournament. Oh, of course he did, because that's all he does is participate in celebrity golf tournaments.
Yeah.
That and run the Bobcats into the ground. That's what Jordan does every day. He says the 92 team, which included 11 Hall of Famers and won its 6 games by an average of more than 43 points en route to capturing the gold medal, may not have been as athletic, but it was definitely a smarter and more experienced team. Now, here's the only thing that I have to say about this, okay? Mm-hmm. The current United States Olympic basketball team has Tyson Chandler as their center, okay? That's fine. Let's just hypothetically pretend like we're going to match up the two teams, okay? Is there anyone on this planet that thinks Tyson Chandler is better than David Robinson in his prime or Patrick Ewing? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
And then at the forwards, I mean, did you realize, okay, the year of the 92 Olympic Dream Team, Michael Jordan won the MVP. But the guy who was the real stud in that Olympic series, the guy for the American team, the Dream Team that played the hardest and was the biggest badass out there was Charles Barkley, who went on the next year to win the NBA MVP. There isn't a player playing the forward position on that team that could play as well as Charles Barkley. Now, there are great forwards in the NBA today, but Charles Barkley is one of the greatest forwards of all time, and he was in his prime.
Yeah. Although he did actually say during that series that Michael Jordan was better than him. That was the first time that he ever said it.
Well, but they always say that. That was
cool, though. I thought that was really cool.
But yeah, of course it's true. And Charles Barkley is kind of funny because Charles Barkley is one of Michael's best friends, and he takes shots at Michael whenever he can. But yeah, he's always sort of admitted that he's the greatest of all time, which has really got to burn them. I mean, as a friend, to have to admit that, that your friend is. Especially when you're one of the greatest of all times.
Yeah.
You got to admit that your friend is better. I know it's hard for Magic. I told the story about Magic and Bird, who were sitting there watching Jordan and the 92 team, and they were playing, and Magic Johnson leaned back against the chair and said to Larry Bird, "It looks like there's a new sheriff in town." I mean, that was the first time that Bird and Magic ever looked at each other and admitted that maybe Michael Jordan was better than them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
nice.
So I mean, but there's no way. Okay, so that's our first douche. Kobe Bryant, who actually believes that this... And look, I love this team. I think this team is going to be great. I don't see any way in hell that any team can beat this U.S. Olympic team that's going to start playing here in a couple of weeks. But shut your mouth about the Dream Team, okay? That Dream Team was a freak show. I mean, sure, LeBron is great, and Kobe is great, but I still am not ready to say that they're better than Jordan and Magic.
This is why we got to get this time traveling thing down.
Yes, that's right. We do. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? And like, oh, yeah, a time travel game. That would be fantastic.
They can come back, tell us how it went.
That would be good. That would be good. All right. Another thing here. I got to find this story here. I wanted to pull it up here, but I don't know where the hell it happened. Boom. Sorry. Oh, here it is. Things never go well for you, Jimmy Ryan, when you are breaking into a zoo and drunk late at night.
No, I can't imagine that they would.
If I was really out of my mind, I would hope that I would have at least enough sense to steer clear of the neighborhood zoo.
Yeah.
Because nothing good can happen there.
Yeah. Unless, the end of the world has come, and that is the place where you can get quite a bit of food. Some easy hunting.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that is the good thing about the zoo.
Yeah.
That's funny. I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's ever any kind of, you just go to the zoo.
Yeah, shoot them in the cage.
Get yourself some
go in there and
lion.
get some food.
A man was killed by tigers at the Copenhagen Zoo today after he scaled a fence and crossed a moat to gain access to the predator's enclosure. The victim, who's been identified as a 20-year-old living in Copenhagen, was savaged by 3 tigers after he broke into the zoo in the Danish capital in the early hours. He was found dead, surrounded by Siberian tigers when the staff arrived for work. Hey, have a good day. That's nice. First thing, you show up at work and there's a dude, and he was in tatters.
Yeah.
There was an arm over there. Good Lord. It is unclear why the man entered the enclosure, but police have not ruled out suicide as a possible motive. Suicide?
That's an awful way of committing suicide.
That is the worst way to commit suicide. Suicide by tiger? Danish newspaper Ekstrabladet. Seriously, this is the name of the newspaper. Ekstrabladet. I have no idea what that is. The newspaper spoke to the young man's family and relatives earlier today. We've cried all day, a member of his family told the paper. I'm absolutely shattered, one of his friends said. He was really a nice guy. Well, of course, they all are. Superintendent Lars Borg revealed that a post-mortem examination has shown the man was bitten on the thigh, chest, face, and throat. So now what are they going to do? So you going to put down the tigers now?
Yeah.
You can't, right? I would defend the tigers. The tiger was being a tiger.
Right.
This dude. That's why the tigers are in an enclosure. So that, because the tigers will eat anything that's in that enclosure. This guy went into the enclosure. You can't put the damn tigers down.
No, it was just behaving as it was supposed to be.
They received an emergency call about 7:30 a.m. that a person had been found lying in the tiger pen and that 3 tigers were surrounding him. The tigers attacked him and killed him. It is likely that a bite to the throat was the primary reason for his death. He's also been in the water. At that point, who cares? What's the primary reason of death? He got eaten by tigers.
Yeah. I mean, like, someone goes into the tiger den. I'm basically saying, well, this one and well. This is basically one of his appendages are going to give out.
The tigers attacked and killed him. It is likely that a bite to the throat was the primary reason for his death. He's been in the water, and the animals must have seen that and attacked him. Detectives are now trawling through CCTV footage I guess that's closed circuit footage to try and exactly establish how the man accessed the enclosure.
Do the right thing and put it on YouTube.
Yeah. Let's see those closed circuit tapes of this guy going in the tiger pen. I want to see that. That's good stuff. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Another douche of the day here. All right, what do we have so far, Jimmy Ryan? Do you remember?
We got Kobe Bryant saying that the current team is going to be better than the dream team. And then the guy who decides that he's going to go for a little hangout with the lions at the zoo.
Yes, the guy over there.
Yeah.
Let me see here. I'm trying to figure out. I can't find the other story that I wanted to do here. All right, that's all right. We'll call it at what it is.
Call it there.
Unless I can find it popping up here. No, I don't know what this is. This is weird. I'm sorry. As I was looking for the other story that I wanted to put in here, I just saw this one. All right. Let's go into this. I don't know if this is a douche of the day candidate, but the headline interests me. It said, parents' devastation as college student son, 20, commits suicide after years of struggling with uncontrollable blushing. You know what? Let's just say Kobe Bryant's the douche and move on, because this seems like kind of a sad story, and I don't really want to include this in the douche thing.
Yeah.
All right. The guy who got eaten by the tigers is a dumbass, and he's dead, so we can forget about that. He doesn't need the posthumous honor of being awarded today's douche of the day. That'll go to Kobe Bryant for thinking that his team, this U.S. Olympic team in 2012, could defeat the '92 Dream Team.
Yeah, I can't call somebody a douche for just being part of natural selection working itself out. So.
No. Yeah. Right. Darwinism.
Yeah.
You know, that's what happens. all right, I don't understand this because as a father of a child, I'm constantly looking at all these things that go on. Uncontrollable blushing. Now, what is blushing, Jimmy?
When you get all red, you get flustered, blood rushing to your face.
Yeah, like whether you've been complimented and usually it's like after
A little embarrassed sometimes.
embarrassed blushing, maybe. Okay. A mother and father have spoken of their devastation at the suicide of their 20-year-old son who killed himself after silently suffering with uncontrollable blushing for years. Brandon Thomas, a University of Washington student, jumped from the 11th floor. What's so funny about that?
He's silently suffering, as opposed to each time he blushes, he says, I'm blushing, I'm blushing, I'm blushing.
Don't be mean. There's no need to be mean here.
Wow.
He jumped from the 11th floor of his Seattle dorm on May 29th and left a 5-page letter blaming the suicide on his despair caused by the disorder. I'm tired of blushing, Brandon from nearby Renton, Washington wrote. It is exhausting to wake up every day and have to find little ways to avoid blushing situations. Since the age of 15, he had suffered from chronic blushing, an uncontrollable reaction triggered by an overactive nervous system that affects between 5 and 7% of the population. This is a real thing?
I know many times I've blushed and it's given away my poker face that I was attempting. It was very annoying.
I don't know if I know how to blush. And I'm looking at these pictures of this kid. This seems like a happy kid.
Yeah.
A happy, good-looking young kid with a great, fresh-faced, all-American-looking family.
Look, I can understand that this kid probably had, some serious issues with, that at moments, and I would imagine it was just unbearable. But I read about a girl the other day who, on average, sneezes once every 5 seconds for her entire life. She's still able to get by, that seems much worse. Like sneezing
she sneezes
every
5 seconds?
Yeah, for her entire life. I mean, that sounds
that's
awful.
Unbearable.
Yeah, so
That would be
this guy's
I
blushing.
like to sneeze, every once in a while. I kind of like it. You know, it's kind of a weird. Every 5 seconds.
Yeah. Hey, blush boy, get over here and talk to the girl who's been sneezing every 5 seconds. It'll be much.
Or how about we see these stories of people who've had hiccups for 20 years?
Oh. I mean, these are serious issues. I mean,
couldn't blushing be? And I don't want to. I'm looking at this kid. He's a fresh-faced kid. He's obviously got a real problem here.
Well, of course, it turned into an issue, but yeah.
All right. They added that he would take the stairs rather than the elevator to the 11th floor of his dorm room to avoid seeing anyone he knew inside the elevator's confines, which he knew would make him blush. I've had people come up to me, even at his service, and say, I know I blush too when I'm in public, his mother said. That is not what this is about. God, I'm looking at all these pictures of him. I hate this story. All right, I don't need to go into any more details on this. This is a nice kid. What a terrible story to sort of end the half hour on. See, I saw a story. I saw a headline that grabbed my attention. I didn't pre-read it. This would have never made the cut of the show. It's just too much of a downer. Now I'm depressed.
Blushing.
I don't even know if I blush.
No?
I don't think I've ever blushed.
Have you never felt your face get all tingly because, it's very rare. I mean, I would imagine that it does get annoying if it happens a lot. Like, even if it happened 2 or 3 times a day, it would be very annoying. But I've had it every once in a while. It is usually good things, though. I mean, if somebody says something good about you or whatever, and it feels kind of good, and you're trying not to seem like a guy that's always taking in self-gratification, you might start feeling a little bit of a rush to your face.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's because I feed off people's compliments. Maybe I don't blush. Maybe I'm just waiting for them to go, yeah, I know.
Oh, we totally agree.
Hey, good show today. I know.
Yeah.
I know. Tell me more. What was your favorite part? What was the coolest thing that I did today?
Yeah, tell me more about me.
Yeah, I wouldn't blush. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come on back. Oh, I know. I wanted to talk. Well, never mind. Well, we got a whole another half hour left in today's podcast to do. So we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. It's more of the Pugs Moran Show, PMS for a Thursday afternoon, coming to you live from the Sunbrew Summer Beach House on thebarlive.com.